All right, y'all. Today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. We're going to check out its its local search, its city search, and we're going to see if it's got BSS, yes or no. Back here in the GBC universe, we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, F6 is our North Star, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, home video, wherever. It's because F6 explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our full spectrum intent capture here in white. Got our highest intent peeps over on the left. There's people using social search, Google search, looking for a boudoir photo shoot in their city today. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent people, and we deal with those with our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS, and we're currently only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But here, these videos talk about BSS. And BSS is boudoir search sameness. That means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. Both are terrible. If we got 0 slots page 1 on Google, that means we're page 2 or deeper. And we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2, which means 80% of people, they're page 1 only searches, which means page 1 is the only place that matters. Page 2 and deeper, we're basically dead. 1 slot. If we got 1 slot on page 1 Google, that ain't enough. And that ain't enough because everyone else has got 1 slot as well. Some people may have 2. And so we're going to be, price shop to death. Buyers just going to go down, hit each link, open up their website, contact them, price shop, negotiate, price shop. And, just the killer for every boudoir photography business. Now, 0-1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. It's extremely common. Everyone accepts it as normal, but it's not. There's 2 deeper root causes: market saturation, which basically everyone knows about, and then the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, people get a new iPhone, get a new camera, get new gear. They throw up their Google Maps profile, saying they shoot boudoir. They throw up their website, saying they shoot boudoir, compete on page 1 for the high intent keywords with us. And they also come in, through like COVID. That was like big market saturation. People lost their jobs, but everyone has a smartphone with awesome cameras. So a ton of new boudoir photographers came through, and that's more sellers for the same number of buyers makes it harder for every seller to win, every individual seller to win. Now the false belief of page 1 equality, this is an interesting one, because from what I've discovered seems like nearly all boudoir photographers kind of accept that I don't know, each boudoir photographer either gets 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, and however the dice falls, that's simply what it is. If they have 1 slot page 1, then someone new came in, ranked their website higher, they got, and it pushed them off to page 2, and it's like, okay, well, that's simply how it is, and that's how it is. But in fact, we've discovered that Google will actually give as many page 1 slots as someone wants to put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google to 9 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google page 1 in only 10 days using this new strategy that we developed, that you'll see in 2 pictures here. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. So if we're on we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, and we're missing, approximately 80% of searches never even seeing us. Yeah, we're definitely disappearing boudoir photographer. If we got 1 slot on page 1, we're still invisible. We're disappearing boudoir photographer. And this is kind of the first sign, the canary in the coal mine, the blinking warning light telling us that, basically telling us that our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing once this happens. So this is our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and page 1 equality. There's a false belief of page 1 equality. But thankfully, finally, we have a solution. We know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, S-cubed methodology. And the way it works is right in the name, social search saturation. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords to show up there. And when we do show up there, we're dominating social search. That's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains down in South America, where the snow is melting, it's flowing into small, small streams, small rivers, and eventually at the end it flows into the Amazon River. That Amazon River is page one of Google, but we first got to get the snow and the small rivers, small streams first. The inputs, that's saturating social search. And what's awesome about SQ methodology is it's the only thing that I've seen for boudoir photographers that can allow a boudoir photography business to continue to grow in the face of market saturation in a reasonable time, and successfully compete against market saturation. The only other thing that I've seen that can do it, obviously, is a brand, massive, well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years to actually acquire. We ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore, dude. We got AI coming, taking people's jobs, gonna force more people to be, into the photography market as photographers. We don't have time to rely 5 to 10 years to create a brand anymore. But now, an example of how SQ methodology, still can allow boudoir photography business to grow in the face of massive market saturation. Let's say got 1 million boudoir photographers in Topeka, Kansas, and we're one of them. Everyone's got their website saying they do boudoir, and as a result, we are actually now competing against, we got 999,999 other competitors. And so competition is super fierce on page one of Google. So we crank up SQ methodology to the max. And let's say that we're able to get the first 300 slots for like all the highest intent keywords across all social media search platforms. And let's say as a result, that flows onto Google, and let's say we got the first 300 slots on Google as well. And there's 10 slots per organic slots per page on Google, so we're taking up the first 30 pages. A buyer literally basically needs to go to page 31 to essentially find any of our competitors. Same if they search anywhere in social media as well. We're taking up all those first 300 slots. So whose business is growing in this case? Ours. Why? Because we're basically the only ones seen anywhere. We're seen. Everywhere someone searches, we're there taking up all the slots. And so, even though there's massive market saturation, we're still the business that's growing, and everyone else is disappearing, slowing down, shrinking, going away. So that's the magic of SQ methodology. Next, once treated with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. And so, we got the first initial benefit, which is more page one slots. The second initial benefit is every new slot we take on page one, we actually are kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. Because now we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two. So we're making them invisible to, 4 out of every 5 people, approximately 80% of the market, the bulk of the market. And we're getting like double, triple, quadruple the exposure. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this is where the GBC recommended minimum of 3 slots comes in, because basically everyone else is going to have 1 slot. Our 3 slots going to dominate them. And there's also going to be a small chance someone could have 2 slots, but we're going to dominate them as well because we got 3. That's what BSV means. And boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, VBP. So it's our micro universe. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and, most importantly, the false belief of page one inequality, which we now know is false, which we'll see my results with it, proving it false in the next picture. Finally, thankfully, thank the universe, we finally got the solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility, we become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. All right, dude, so now my results using S-cubed methodology for myself. So I want to rank for the, you can see right here, the words BLCS boudoir. I want to dominate page one on Google for these words. So I purely used my S-cubed methodology. Come down here to the organic slots here. So I start with 0 slots on page 1. And here we go. First organic slot, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 in Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 in Google in only 10 days, exclusively utilizing S-cubed methodology. Now, all right, main event here. Let's see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its its local search and its city search. I was going to see if it is hitting the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. All right, so we're going to Rancho Cordova, California. All right, so here we go. We're in Rancho Cordova, California, and let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. No, that doesn't count. All right, so we got 0 out of 10. So we got BSS for our local search, and we are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. We're going to go to our city search now, larger city search, Sacramento, California. Let's check it out here. Let's see. All right, we got 1. Boom. Nice. City's always harder than local. So, all right, we got 1 out of 10. And let's see. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 local. So we do still got BSS for that one. All right, so final result, we got so local we got 0 out of 10. So we got BSS. City we got 1 out of 10. We also have BSS, and for both, we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've actually done your local searches, your city searches for the highest intent boudoir bar keywords in your city, and you have seen you got BSS for at least one of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for at least one of those searches, and you've accepted that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. So like, man, yeah, we actually can take as many page 1 slots on Google as we want. And so you kind of broke through the mental barrier, and you're seeing, wow, S-cubed methodology, that's the solution I need. That's what I've been waiting for. It's a solution for me. And you're liking the initial benefits, yeah, more slots for you in page 1 Google search. And then obviously, you also like kicking your competing with photographers off page 1, effectively rendering them invisible to approximately 80% of the market, or approximately 80% of buyers. That's a good strategic move. And you understand market saturation, yeah, more peeps become boudoir photographers over time, and it's because people upgrade their gear. But you're also remembering back in COVID, what happened? A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people still need to earn money. Everyone's got a superpowered smartphone with an ultra camera. So a ton of new boudoir photographers enter the market. Increased supply, more sellers for the same number of buyers, harder for every single seller. And now you're seeing AI taking more people's jobs. And you're actually seeing that more peeps will, AI's only simply going to get better and better over time. I'm going to take more and more people's jobs over time. So like, people upgrading their gear, come boudoir photographers, and people, on top of that, way more people actually losing their jobs due to AI, going to be coming and being boudoir photographers on top of all that, the people upgrading their gear. So you're realizing it's not just simply about getting page 1 links and kicking competitors off page 1. You actually need to fortify your position, like literally have page 1 backup links where you got so many links that you've already taken up basically all the slots you can on page 1, that all the other links that could be ranking on page 1, Google actually puts them, page 2, page 3, page 4, kind of like backlog of links that are page 1 worthy. So then you can essentially prevent all current boudoir photographer competitors from ever ranking on page 1, and also essentially prevent all the future boudoir photographers from ever future boudoir photographers that actually come through AI taking their job from ever ranking on page 1. So you understand, you got to fortify your position, like fortifying the levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because that city's actually below sea level, so they got to fortify the levees against the ocean. And you're saying, okay, how do we get all these links? And you're saying, okay, S-cubed methodology, got it. That's fortification. That's a benefit S-cubed methodology gives as well. And you want to achieve page 1 visibility in order to become a visible boudoir photographer, to achieve Boudoir search visibility, because you need these things on your path to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you are also understanding kind of the future benefits of SQ methodology, where all these all the social search saturation we're doing for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. You're understanding that we're basically building like these invisible thematic keyword columns, plugging them into your brand, your business name, your website name, your personal name, your social media handles. And every day we build these up by successfully executing SQ methodology. We're actually increasing the probability in 2 places, that we show up in 2 places. The first one here, AI overview. Most premium placement in Google search. #1 organic slot here. Cannot buy this with ads. And we're also increasing the probability of being shown in AI search apps. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Increasing the probability of showing up there every day. That's important because AI search is growing every day while Google standard search is declining every single day. And you know that AI search is important. So these 2 benefits, AI overview, AI search, SQ methodology gives these, because it's exactly what we're doing, building the invisible thematic keywords columns. It's kind of like back-end AI keyword mindshare. That's kind of momentum. That's exactly what it is. So every day we do it. Successful SQ methodology, we're increasing the probability of showing up here. And I remember the last time I searched for boudoir photographers in a city with an AI app, was with ChatGPT. It gave me 3, but I went to then look manually, Google standard search, Facebook search, and dude, there's like 60. It's like, man, we gotta get in on these AI slots any way possible. And that's SQ methodology is the greatest, best way that I've ever seen that enables the highest probability for a boudoir photographer to achieve that. And you also like future benefits, yeah, can help build a brand approximately 8x faster than standard methods. And you also understand that my current plan is to only work with 1 boudoir photographer per city. And so you like getting all these benefits, and also you like being able to prevent your competitors from getting these benefits, so you can actually build up massive link war chest, link ranking, and link kind of back-end AI keyword mindshare momentum. Massive gap between you and your competitors to basically make it so that that gap can be made so big that basically nobody can, no current competitor could essentially catch you, and no future competitor that actually comes from AI taking their job to basically ever catch you. And that's why you've decided to be first mover, because you want all these benefits and to prevent your competitors from getting all these benefits. You let that gap, because you understand the converse. The converse is actually that one of your competitors in your city signs on with me first. We're putting their links, page 1 Google search. You're getting pushed off. You're on page 2 or 3 or somewhere deeper and visible to approximately 80% of the market or more. We're fortifying their page 1 links in Google search, so that essentially you'll never be able to rank on page 1 again as long as we keep executing. We're building out the back-end AI keyword mindshare momentum, and make it a super large gap between your competitor and you. And you're realizing to compete, you'd actually have to rederive SQ methodology, which, well, derive it for the first time, and you would never actually know if you've derived it correctly. 100%, you'd never be 100% confident you've derived it correctly. And then you'd have to go execute it every single day, same as us. But if you did both those things, the gap me and your competitor have already had ahead of you, it would be the same distance. You'd be maintaining the size of that gap. So to make any headway, close that gap, you'd actually have to outwork us like 2 to 3x every single day. And if you did that, well, then first of all, you wouldn't be 100% confident you've derived the strategy correctly. So it'd be hard to even put in 2 to 3x the time every single day. And then you'd be sitting there like, well, screw this. Who's got 80 hours to do all this stuff, all this work every single day? So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Our DMs are currently closed right now. The hospital is currently closed to new patients. But when the hospital does open for new patients, shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S-cubed methodology.